Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is R2F1 on the French Grand Prix 2022 post review. Firstly, let's start off with would Leclerc still have pole if Ferrari didn't use their science slipstream tactics?
Yeah, I think it's a tough one. I think in the grand scheme of things, yes, but I think if Max had put in a slightly stronger lap, then no. It definitely secured it for him, I think,
Yeah, because
100%.
he didn't do one in his first set. He was 1.5 tenths down, but it's all of a you'll never know, I guess. Right, then let's go on
Yeah,
to Lando storming in with a P5, splitting the two Mercedes. Surprising
yeah,
that.
yeah, especially as that pace really wasn't shown throughout the weekend. I think he just put in a stonking lap and maybe got lucky with some slipstream. But on that topic, Mercedes' pace in qualifying didn't look that strong actually. It was quite surprising considering they'd brought in upgrades and like the track temps and everything suited their car.
Yeah. Oh, why don't we go on to the quick what if we had Albon's small spin at the end of the straight, and that caused a lot of people to have to abandon their lap, and also Mick having his lap deleted, which also made Albon get into Q2.
I have a question for you. Do you think Mick would have made it all the way up to Q3 like his teammate
I
Kevin
think he would have.
if his lap wasn't deleted? Yeah,
I
I
I
agree with
think
you.
it would have been very very possible. Now, George,
So,
then what's your overall rating of qualifying?
I think qualifying was a solid. I think it was solid 7, maybe 6.5 out of 10. It was interesting, but it really
Yeah,
wasn't
it was between
that
a 6 and a
interesting.
7 because there's no real instance, no really max surprise drama, etc.
Yeah,
in it, which
but
you don't
before
really normally see, but it would always be nice to see it like that.
Yeah. Before we're done on qualifying, what did you think of Magnussen not setting another lap in Q3?
Oh yeah. Well, we all know why he did it, just so he doesn't annoy the Ferrari, aka their parents, because they haven't basically an office in Ferrari headquarters,
But
office in Ferrari headquarters, and they
it's
supply
weird
their
though
engines.
because Alfa Romeo also have a Ferrari engine, but their relationship seems nothing like the relationship like this. Like Alfa Romeo never look
Well,
like they're gonna do that.
Alfa Romeo is kind of like almost like AlphaTauri and Red Bull because it's the junior academy, like Ferrari Junior Academy.
I know, but I've never seen an maybe it's just coincidence. I've never seen an Alfa Romeo do what Magnussen did, which is
Well,
interesting.
I've never really seen an Alfa Romeo get into E3 with engine penalties.
That's true. That's very true. Anyway, so onto the race.
Yes, on to the
Alonso
race.
Alonso had a cracking start,
Oh yeah,
jumping.
round the outside of a few drivers.
And he jumped, I think, 2, 3 positions, which is
Yeah, we got Norris, Russell, and Russell almost got into Hamilton.
yeah. But it wasn't Hamilton. I think it was Perez because Perez had a really
Oh yeah,
shaky start.
Perez. Well,
Perez had a
Perez is
shaky,
just shaky all weekend.
yeah. And Lewis got off the line really, really well, and he managed to secure P3, and he didn't lose it for the rest of the race. So his start was very crucial,
No,
I
but
think.
also with talking about Lewis quickly, when that safety car was brought out and Max pitting like 2 laps earlier, I was almost completely sure Hamilton was going to take the lead. But I
I
feel like
think
if Verstappen pitted 1 lap later and the next lap was the safety car, he wouldn't. Hamilton would have been in the lead at the safety car. Max would have
I think
obviously eventually gotten him, but yeah,
I wouldn't be so sure if it like obviously, but I think he would have done as well because as you can see, Paul Ricard is very dirty air orientated, but Max was looking strong all weekend.
well,
I
yeah.
think the
Quickly talking about
slow
dirty
stop
air,
as well. The
talking
slow
about
stop though for Lewis, just to finish on that, really could have if he had a banging stop, but he
yeah.
didn't, and I don't think it really mattered too much to be fair.
No, but while you're on dirty air, as Crofty and people were saying, it's been quite affecting the drivers like massively here in Paul Ricard. We had people's sorry, not engines, tires just really overheating and wearing down a lot quicker when they were behind each other, behind another car. Was that? Do
Yeah,
you think that was just because it was a higher downforce circuit?
I think that and also the high track temperature or like massively influences dirty air. So I think there's a few reasons. And also the circuit is just prone to dirty air. It's just how it is.
Mm. But then, what about the Red Bull and Ferrari pace?
So if you Perez was massively off the pace all weekend, but if you're comparing them car to car, I think Sainz was the fastest car on the track, and I
And
think Ferrari were quicker. But
yeah, if Leclerc didn't have his crash,
accident, yeah.
he would have definitely won. And if Ferrari didn't actually good strategy, I feel like Sainz could have definitely been on the podium, especially without that five
Uh,
second penalty.
I agree. I think he would have come third. Yeah. So
Okay, talking about Leclerc's crash, why don't we quickly go on to that?
I think it was just a mistake, to be honest. I think, as
As
he
you
said,
said,
it's.
it was just a mistake, but he also said
I
something about his
think
throttle.
I actually think there's a tiny thing you can blame on Ferrari here, and it's that it's always you're always risking the driver if he's protecting an undercut on tires that old on a track that hot. You have to be aware of these things. Like if he's sliding around, you have to bring him in, especially if you're
But
asking him to push that
it
hard.
was a very driver error because he went in a bit deep and had to correct, and then his back end stood out. But he said something
Stepped on
about
it,
his
yeah.
not being able to get off the throttle, and if you can't get on the throttle, your back wheels are still trying to spin. Use any traction, they spin, 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 which causes you to just basically create a pendulum movement and just do a really easy
Yeah,
180. That's
yeah.
what happened.
I think we don't have enough information to be honest.
No, that is
But yeah,
true.
on Ferrari bottle jobs, Carlos Sainz deciding to box for the second time. Do you think that was a massive mistake, or do you think it was a safety measure
I think
that they
it
had to
was
take?
partly a safety measure, but it definitely should have probably taken the risk. If I was a Ferrari strategy, I would have said, take the risk. Sainz here could, with Russell and Leclerc battling, Russell and Perez battling, Sainz could easily pull 5 seconds ahead, maybe like 4.8 or something, and lose one position if there's a big enough gap between Perez and Russell. But it's better than guaranteeing dropping down 2 more places.
I agree, but then you have to think that his tyres were just about to start a big drop-off period, and he could have not been able to pull the gap anyway, and
That
then he
is
could have got
true.
a puncture, and he could have lost everything. So I do think there's some sorts that like we have to say, okay, they did the right thing, but in general, I would have kept him out, maybe risked it.
Yeah. And then let's quickly shortly go into Russell's restart, well, Russell and Perez's restart. You had Perez sleeping at the wheel, not trying anything, none of us basically sleep, and Russell's being a bit smarter, go being below Delta pace so he could quickly speed up, and he did it almost perfectly. He was going a
Uh,
bit faster
uh,
than Delta pace, but still within his Delta because he dropped back a bit, which means he just had a better restart.
I think there's some aspect of luck there because I don't
Mm,
know if I don't know if you I don't know this, but if you're in the car, I'm not sure if it tells you exactly when the VHE is going to end. I don't think it does.
it doesn't.
I I think Russell just
Yeah,
he
he
took
got
a
lucked out.
he kind of guessed when Verstappen was going to cross the line. I think that is when they release it is when the leader crosses the line, right? Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it is. So he probably guessed when Verstappen crossed the line, got the jump, caught Perez lacking, and I think yeah, it was a really smart move and it secured him the podium.
Mm. And then we're talking about Russell and Perez. What about the incident where, and then the straight they almost touched and Perez had to make avoiding action?
I think Russell's taken the regulations too literally here. I think like he said, oh well, I was technically alongside, but he's
Yeah,
just
but
jumped on the apex and left no
he's
space.
jumped on the
It's Russ.
apex and just sent it down the inside
I
with
think it's Russell's
like no
fault.
room there.
I don't think you can blame Perez.
No, well, you've changed your mind then.
Yeah,
On the
initially
post race emotion.
post-race emotions, but no, it's definitely Russell's fault.
Okay, now
So
running out of time here. Let's say, should they keep Paul Ricard?
I think yes, because I think there are other circuits on the grid, like this one's quite controversial, Monaco, and another one I hate is Imola. I think if you take
Imola.
them, I think those two, I would rather get taken out than Paul Ricard, because Paul Ricard in the last 2 years has produced good races. So
Well, we'll have to talk about Imola some other day, but What about overall rating for the race?
I'd give it. I'm going to say an 8.5 out of 10 because I'm a Mercedes fan and I enjoyed it a lot to watch.
I'm
But
gonna
I'd
say,
say there wasn't that much overtaking, and
yeah,
there's a
well,
lot of
there
action.
was, but they just never showed it.
Yeah, and there was a lot of action, but there wasn't actually like Silverstone level action. It was definitely one of the strongest races of the season, definitely. But
Yeah,
and for Paul Ricard, it was very good. I wasn't
yeah,
expecting
I'll
that
give
to be
it
great.
a solid 8 out of 10 in the top 5 races of the season so far.
Yeah.
Well then,
So
ladies
anyway,
and gentlemen, that was our after F1 post-race review of the French Grand Prix. We'll see you after Hungary. Check out for our videos coming out soon. Yeah.